Hey everybody. Hey. Tan is live in the kitchen and I'm in the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen with a good old cup of coffee. I'm in the kitchen with a good old cup of coffee and what I'm about to do is get my vegetables prepped. I went to the store and what I like to do is when I go to the store, I find my vegetables, mostly peppers, onions. Today I got peppers. I have apples. And what else? Anyway, I'm prepping. I'm getting preppy in my kitchen. I'm getting preppy in the kitchen. And let's get started. So, I've already got my peppers washed and cleaned. Uh, so, I've got my peppers washed and cleaned already. I just need to get them all sliced up. And what I do with my peppers is I slice them because when I cook them, most of the times they just dissolve in whatever I'm cooking in anyway. So I've gotten them washed. I'm gonna go ahead and get them sliced up. I'm gonna get them seeded. Look how pretty that is. I love all the colors. And what I plan on doing, since I don't have a huge mix, I'm just gonna make one big bag of sliced peppers. But tonight I really plan on uh, slicing my peppers. I also want to get my apples ready. I plan on dehydrating apples. I have Honeycrisp apples. I have Fuji apples. Honeycrisp, Fuji, Cosmic Crisp, and I have Pink Lady. I have the Pink Lady. I'm gonna dehydrate those apples. I've got them washing right now. I got them in my sink getting cleaned up. And that's what I'm gonna try to do. Yeah, I got a list of things that I want to get done on this live. I also harvested some figs. Look, this is my compost bowl. I got it lined with the Atwood sale. That way I can go ahead and get all this stuff. Hmm. Yeah, so that way I get all this stuff. Don't fall over on me now. Come, don't fail me now. So what I want to do is get all this stuff in one spot. And once I get all these peppers seeded, I'm going to take the insides out to my compost and I'm going to put them all in the compost spot, right? Destiny, hey, you live with me and I'm preppy. I'm getting preppy. I went to the store and I bought a whole bunch of peppers. Where's this one? Why is it not coming on? I bought a whole bunch of peppers and I'm getting them prepped for the freezer. When I find the peppers, when I find peppers or vegetables that I like on sale, I know I'm not gonna use all these peppers right away, but what I don't want them to do is spoil. I freeze my peppers. I've mentioned in previous lives that during the pandemic, I learned to do a lot of things. I learned to make wine. I learned to make bread, easy, quick, easy bread. I even planned on learning to can. However, Tan went and invested in a canner and all the things. But at some point, I realized that canner was still sitting in the box. It did not come out the box. That's how I knew I wasn't going to do it. So I took it back. But I freeze I freeze and dehydrate my food for storage. And that's what I'm doing with these peppers tonight. Um, like I said, I have the red peppers, I have the orange pepper, and I have one green pepper. And I'm gonna get these all cut up. And I like peppers. I really use peppers in a lot of stuff. I like to cook a lot of stews, a lot of one pots, right? Stir fry one pots, and I always find myself putting pepper in there. And even even not on the holidays, y'all, I love a good cornbread dressing. I can do it. It's what I love. I don't know. It's something about the flavor of celery, bell peppers, onion, and sage. That's how my mama used to make it. Oh. And when I learned to cook, I started doing it the same way. Mine doesn't taste the same as Mom the Great's, but I hit all those notes that I loved and tasted when she was preparing it. And I also put a little bit of sugar in it. Because somewhere along the way, I learned that sugar brings all the flavors together. So I like to keep peppers on hand. And I'm ready for winter, y'all. speaking of speaking of dressings and holidays, that makes me think about cold, but I am ready for the winter. I am ready for the winter because Texas done turned the heat on. It's not even in the dog days of summer yet. I'm not even in the dog days of summer. And tan is burning up, right? So I mentioned in a previous live, I had an appointment. I went to my appointment and it felt like my face was melting off. I don't know that I've become ultra sensitive to the sun all of a sudden, or if that sunbeam was headed right at the beaming right in the center of my forehead. I had to look real crazy because first I touched my forehead in disbelief and I rubbed it, and I got a temporary relief, right? The moment I took my hand off my forehead again, my face started feeling crispy. Oh my God, it was so horrible. And I've started asking people around me, said, "Are you feeling really hot? This is the sun super hot?" And a lot of people are telling me yes, they're feeling hot too. So, and it's not even okay. So my car is registering at like 105 maybe, 105, 103, 105, but ugh, I be struggling, and I have to do yard work, and when I have to do the yard work, I'm taking frequent refrigeration and hydration breaks because all I can do is imagine being passed out in my yard and the ants get to nibbling on my sweetmeat, y'all. Ooh, but between the ants and my co-host Sid Vicious and my other tenants that run around my yard, all I can think about is looking up my eyes into the tenants or waking up covered in them Texas fire ants. And all they do is bite. Yeah. That's what's going on. Tan is prepping. She's getting preppy. I am ready for the winter. But yeah, so the store gave me peppers today. I'm thinking about, so I'm about to get peppering. I'm thinking, yesterday I was live in my garden and I showed y'all that I'm finally growing lemons. I was on a lemon strike because my lemon trees kept dying on me. I've started about 7 or 8 lemon trees, y'all. And I keep planting them because I want to grow lemons. I love lemons in just about, well, I like citrus. I like lemonade. I like sour and tart. So if I could grow my own lemons, you know, it'd be nice. I make lemon pie. I put it on my fish. Oh, I might even make lemon curd. Mmm, that's something that I love. Lemon curd on crumpets. Yum. That's what I do. I make everything lemon. But so I started saying that because I'm thinking it's time to start protecting the little lemons that I have on my Lululemon the set. I feel like it's time to start protecting them before my tenant gets out there and I go and look one morning, all 4 or 5 of them are off that little bush that I got growing that I've been managing to keep alive since I believe April. I'm excited about that because a lot of stuff out in my garden is all dried up. I was mentioning how hot it is. I just bought a new gardenia bush. It's out there all crispy. The one of the strawberry bushes that I just got, it was looking lovely when I got it, and all producing and stuff. Cause Tan likes a plant from the garden center that's got the cheat code on it. Give me a plant that's already got a fruit or a vegetable on it, and I feel like, I feel like I know I'm getting some because I'm paying for a starter plant, but I really feel excited. I feel excited, y'all, when I get a plant already, a vegetable or something already on, a vegetable or fruit already on the plant when I purchase it. So, yeah, I feel like I need to go ahead and put some, I think laundry bags or mesh bags to deter my tenant from sticking his little grimy paws up there and enjoying the fruits of my labor. Put some color on the board. I'll take orange for 300, Alex. Yeah, see, I save my seeds from whatever I'm doing. Like I said, I'm going to take all this seed right here and I'm going to take it. What I've been doing lately is just making little compost packs. I get all this wrapped up in this newspaper and I'll just go put it in my little compost bin. I'll get it all good and wet. I get the paper all good and wet and I'll put it in my compost bin. But my goal in doing that with these seeds is to get them to sprout. I have lots of luck with getting stuff to grow from seed, from something that I bought. What I have right now in my refrigerator are some garlic. Let's see, maybe in February or March, I bought some garlic from the store that was sprouting, and I put them in my compost bin, and y'all, they grew. I have a video called Will It Grow? Sure enough, those things grew and bulbed really nice. I mean, it wasn't as big as the garlic that I bought in the store, but I was really happy that it made, well, actually they made the largest garlics that I've grown before. I'm always putting stuff in the ground. I mentioned previously, I get it from my daddy. Mom the Great used to tell Dad the Great, she said, "Ooh, you just plant that stuff everywhere." Just Dad would just plant trees. And Mom would be so mad. She'd walk out the front door. She'd be walking into a tree because Dad got the bright idea to put a tree there. It started off really small and cute, something he was experimenting with, but it turned into a big old tree. And so Tan just be out in her garden planting stuff. I want to see it grow. Get it from my daddy, y'all. Get it from my daddy. But I planted garlic before and they've been really small. But these got really large for some reason. I'm really happy about that. I'm optimistic that the ones that I bought, I think I got 5 or 6 of them for $1.25. And if I break the cloves, I'm not sure how many cloves are on a garlic, but each of those individual cloves that have sprouted, I will be putting them in the soil, right? And I'll be looking to harvest garlic. Y'all, y'all, they're sprouted already. And I've asked some of my super gardener friends to let me know if they're gonna last in my refrigerator. If I could push them till the end of August, I feel like I could get them in the ground and they'll winter and get the cold time or whatever, you know, the garlic need to grow instead of just bolting, you know, coming straight on out. So I've asked my super gardener friends if they think those garlic will last that long in my refrigerator, or am I just gonna have to put them out there and get what I get? You know, I don't want to do that. I got them and I'm excited. Now, if I have to do that, that's fine too, because I know the greens on the garlic are edible as well. What do they call it, y'all? Ramps. I don't know. There's some two things bumping around in my head I've seen on the food shows. But so I went to the store today and I got peppers. I'm prepping my peppers for the freezer. Uh, I'm prepping my peppers for the freezer because Tan likes peppers. A lot of stuff that I cook has peppers in it. I like stir fry. I like the flavor of peppers. Uh, Really, when I'm using the peppers, they're cooking down into my sauce. So it's more for the flavor. You know, especially after I've frozen the peppers. They're no longer firm and crisp, but I just like the flavor of peppers. Then I also like the color. I like the color that the peppers add to my dishes. So I like to have peppers on hand. I like to have peppers on hand. I like to have onions on hand and garlic. You know, those are just kind of staples in my culinary savoir faire. You know what I'm saying? I know everybody got something that they love to cook with. My thing is definitely onions, garlic, and peppers. So I'm gonna get these all prepped up, and this is gonna be a one big bag that's gonna go in the freezer. And once I get these all off in the freezer, as I use my peppers, I just break off a chunk. I break off a chunk as much as I need, and I put the bag back in the freezer. And this might last me for maybe 2 or 3 months. 2 or 3 months. Just depends on how much Tan is in the kitchen cooking. How many great things I could think that I need to make with my peppers. Another thing, y'all, new in my kitchen, are trumpet mushroom. Got some trumpet mushrooms. So I've done some little looking, done a little bit of looking to see what Tan is gonna cook with those trumpet mushrooms. Now, what I really like is the recipe for barbecue trumpet mushrooms. That is simple and easy enough for Tan to get done, and get to munching and taste and see if I like the trumpet mushrooms. That's another thing. I caught them on sale, and that's what I say a lot on my my channel, I'm not an adventurous cook, but I am a foodie. I like to try new foods, but I don't want to spend, an arm and a leg to find out I don't like something, right? So, regular price, I'm not sure what those trumpet mushrooms cost, but I end up getting them for, I think, $1.25. But I did look to see what I'm gonna make with them. And before I purchased them, I also looked to see if it was something I was gonna even think about trying, enjoying. But so I saw barbecue trumpet mushrooms. I also saw, let's see, barbecue. Oh, cut them. Okay, so the trumpet mushrooms kind of look like this, and they're called scallop substitutes. Cut them like this in a little a circle, a medallion, and sear them in a pan like a scallop. Can you imagine? I'm gonna try that. That sounds like good. I feel like I need to get some more stuff for that recipe. Um, but I'm excited to try that. I am so excited to try that. And that's another thing too. When I'm trying something new, I always look for the simplest recipe. The simplest recipe with the least amount of ingredients. That way I'm not wasting ingredients and I'm not wasting a product. It I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it. First of all, there's a possibility that if I don't like the item, I will like the flavor. And Tan will always combine something. I'll flip it and turn it into something else. I'm not gonna waste it. Like Dad the Great. It's so funny. We used to try to stop Dad the Great from him making his own food. Dad the Great would make a pot of soup, and before the pot of soup ran out, he add more soup. We kept saying, "Daddy, stop! You're gonna get sick. Daddy, stop! You're gonna get sick." But he loved it. He said, he said that makes it taste better. Dad the Great said, mixing the old on top of the new makes it taste better. And you know what? So Dad the Great is a Renaissance man, right? Dad the Great watched cooking shows. He was a golf man, and he loved baseball. Dad the Great loved the Atlanta Braves. I like the Atlanta Braves. Now, I don't know if I like them or if I just, I remember, watching Atlanta Braves, and I remember the colors were pretty on their uniforms. It was always something interesting about the Atlanta Braves. I remember when they went to the World Series long time ago. Because the Braves have been to the World Series a bunch of times, right? But anyway, Dad the Great would watch cooking shows. And back in the day, y'all, back in the day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. I don't wish I was a kid again ever, but there was only one TV in the house. The boss control the TV, right? So Dad would watch. He always watched the news. We always watched the news. We had to know what was going on. But he also watched cooking shows. And even though Dad the Great was a Renaissance man, he wasn't doing much cooking around the house. Mom the Great was the cook. But Dad would hit that grill on the holidays. Man, for the 4th of July and Memorial Day, that is something I miss so much. Dad the Great would hit that grill, and he had his own barbecue recipe. Dad the Great had his own barbecue recipe. I'm sure it was inspired by some things that he saw on those cooking shows. And I grew up watching those cooking shows with him, and I didn't know what all the flavors were, but I'd hear the chefs, talking about mixing flavors and creating flavor profiles. So that's what my mind wanted to do. Not only were they cooking unique items and combining ingredients and making goods, they were making goods from all around the world, right? So, Dad and Great watched those cooking shows. I still watch cooking shows. The cooking shows of today were inspired by the ones of old, but so this is what I'm getting to with all my cooking shows and Dad the Great. So I watched a young Asian guy. I don't know if it was PBS or YouTube, but he said there's something called, I don't want to say, okay, so I'm not gonna get the dialect right and I'm not gonna get the word right, but I'm gonna try to get as close to what he said as I remember. And I equate this to Dad the Great's pot of soup. He said he made trash soup, and the trash soup was made of, it was stock. It was stock that boiled, stock that cooked, days old stock. And that's what Dad the Great looked like. Dad the Great was eating. You know, it was the sad. It was so bad. Dad the Great would freeze it, take a little chunk, thaw it out. Freeze it, take a little chunk, thaw it out. And when the pot got down to the bottom, he was adding more stuff to make more soup. We always had a would you eat it, right? Oh, I wish I could find one of my old phones. When I go home to visit Mom and Dad the Great would always be at the table with his plate of mush. Y'all. Dad the Great would be at the table with his plate of mush. And he'd be so happy to play the game. Said, Daddy, what is that you eating? Oh, it's a little bit of soup. You want some? Yuck, Daddy. No, Daddy, I don't want none of that. And that's where the game would start. I take pictures of it. I take a picture of him holding the spoon in his mouth, and I send it out to my siblings talking about who wants some on the mass text. And everybody would come back with yuck. Yuck. Nobody don't want none of that, Daddy. Oh, it did make my mama laugh so hard. Because Mom was like, oh, man, he put that nasty stuff in my refrigerator. And oh, man. Yeah. We got to be eating healthier now, though. Dad the Great is eating healthier now. So, but yeah. So I'm up prepping, get my peppers done. I'm going to get them in one big bag. And I'm going to get them in the freezer. I'm going to get them in the freezer. And then I'm going to start with my apples. I'm going to start with my apples. I have I'll wipe down my cutting board. All right, let me get my bag. here we go. Get all my peppers. Get all my peppers in this bag. Yeah, one thing I want to do when I buy my peppers is for them to go bad. So I'm gonna be trying to get on them as soon as I can. Get these in the freezer. Now, so Tan has a lot of things going on in the kitchen all the time. All the time they got a lot of stuff going on. I'm gonna show you what I was working on that I'm about to abort. I'm not gonna do this no more. Well, not for a while anyway, until I get a little bit more stable. Because right now, Tan is juggling priorities. I'm juggling priorities, y'all, and I'm moving around. But let's see how many more. So these are my apples. I told you I got apples. I got peppers. I also got some lemons, but I feel like I'm gonna freeze. I feel like I'm gonna freeze my lemons because in the wintertime I love to have a hot lemon tea. Okay, so these are my tomatoes. Well, let me show you what I've been working on. So the sister gardener had grown some lettuce from the store-bought heads that was left over. I grown some too. I got about this much of lettuce, and I just cut it the other day. But I'm about to abandon this project. It don't make me so happy. I want to put these out in the yard and see if they will continue to grow, but like I said, it's so hot here in Texas. I feel like if I put these out right now, it's just gonna die. But these are my this is my store-bought lettuce that I've been growing in the house in just water. Now I did a little bit of looking on that, and so it's not sustainable to let them grow in the water like this. So eventually, I think I read in 2 weeks. In about 2 weeks, it's just not gonna do anything anyway. So it's not worth it for me to even grow like this. But it was looking good, right? Yeah. About to complete that, right? But now, go ahead and get my. So, y'all, what I normally do is 9 times. Okay, so what I would normally do, y'all, when getting ready to dehydrate my apples, I cut them and I put them in some lemon water. Keep them from turning brown. But I'm not even worried about that right now. I've washed them and taken those labels off of them. I'm gonna start getting them sliced up real thin. And then I'm gonna get them on my rack and I'm gonna get them straight in the dehydrator. Now, I'm gonna get them straight in the dehydrator. Now I got this good old vintage knife, y'all. Tan loves a vintage knife. Tan likes vintage. That's all I can say about that. I love vintage. It's another thing. I think Dad the Great like a lot of good vintage stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this cut, get them sliced. Or as Mom the Great used to say, I'm gonna get them sliced, and I'm gonna get them on my rack and into the dehydrator. Now, I haven't found an easy way to core these things. I know there's some things. Actually, I have a thing, but that's for the pineapple. So this is how I get my apples cored. And I'm happy this knife has the sharp tip on it. You see it's got the sharp tip. It lets me get precise and straight down to the bottom of the apple and kind of make a ring. Then I turn it over and connect there we go. I turn it over and connect to the spot that I was at. And then I have my apple ring. Now, in the past, y'all, when I've gotten apples, I've tried to make apple cider vinegar. I haven't had any success with that yet. However, it hasn't stopped me from trying. I'm gonna get those apples on the rack. And I'm keep cutting this apple. I like my apples thin. I'm sure there's a actual size that it should be cut to for good dehydration. But I like my rings thin. So I cut them as thin as I can without getting my hands up in there. Because Tan ain't trying to lose no nubs. I need them all. Need all my nubs, y'all. I was talking to my nephew. I said, Kay, I'm getting some dehydration done. He said, dehydration? I said, yeah, I'm dehydrating. He said, well, what does that do? I said, well, it dries out the fruit to preserve them. And he says, how are you going to dehydrate them? I said, I'm going to put them in my dehydrators. He said, well, he said, you got more than one? I said, well, yeah. And I only have more than one because the rack replacements are expensive, y'all. So what ended up happening is, or what had happened was, Tan came across some racks that was with a dehydrator that was cheaper than buying replacement racks. Now, I was mentioning that I have Pink Lady apples. I have Cosmic Crisp apples. I have Honey Crisp apples. And I have Granny Smith. Ooh, y'all. Ain't nothing like a dehydrated Granny Smith apple. I love the tart of it all. It's something that I enjoy. Like I said, I start at the bottom. Because I got this sharp knife, I kind of core out the bottom a little bit. There's probably an easier way to do it. I hadn't cracked the code on that yet. But I start with getting that out. Then I get my first ring. It's a baby ring, but it goes nonetheless. And then I cut as thin as I can. Like I said, I like my dehydrated apple rings thin. If you like yours big and meaty, you'll cut yours meaty. You'll make them thicker than mine. But then as I go, I continue to core out this apple. Eventually my core will get to the other side. And that's what Tan is doing. I am getting preppy, y'all. Getting preppy. I'm getting my apples dehydrated. I've got my peppers. I got my peppers sliced and in the freezer. And now I'm on this. I see seeds in here. You know what? I save seeds, but I don't feel like I want to save apple seeds. I want to grow stuff that's gonna produce, like, not quick, but I want to harvest something. I don't want to wait 3 or 4 years or forever for an apple tree to may produce. Maybe. Look though. Look. The seed has already started sprouting inside the tomato. I'm gonna sit that to the side and get that in some soil and see what it will do. It's already started sprouting, so there's no reason for me not to see if it will grow. There we go. Will it grow, y'all? Tan, and this is well, I took the label off, so I don't know what type of apple this is. And I'm cutting up my apple rings, y'all, and I'm gonna get them in the see if there's more in there. I'm cutting up my apple rings, and as fast as I cut them, I'm getting them in the dehydrator. Normally I put them in some lemon water, but I'm just gonna omit that step. You know, I got my dehydrator right off to the side. It's kicking with my first rack of did I say tomatoes? Ugh. I don't know why I be having tomatoes on the brain. But I got my first rack of apples in the dehydrator. So I got my first rack of apples in the dehydrator. And I just need to go ahead. I'm gonna keep the racks going. I'm gonna keep the apple train rolling, y'all, until I get through all these apples. Now, I do have plans on trying to cook those figs. I have a fig tree in my garden, and Figalicious ain't doing so good right now. She looking sick out there, but she has some figs on her, and she's producing figs. However, looking like she need to be in the ER. She looking like she need to be in the ER, unfortunately. I don't know if it's the heat. I don't know if I'm overwatering. Tan just don't know what it is. However, my tree ain't looking the bestest. I hate when I get them small pieces, but all this going in. This is my second rack. And before I walk away from my dehydrator, I'm going to check and see what the temp is my apple should dehydrate at and for how long. Then I'm going to set that thing and I'm going to walk away. I'm going to walk away and start on something else. Like I said, I'm getting preppy. That's all it is. I am getting preppy. I got stuff that I want to get done, that I need to get done. And that's what I'm doing right now. And if y'all joining me, that's what y'all seeing. Tan getting preppy. Now this is a Honey Crisp, y'all. Got this Honey Crisp. I know I love that Pink Lady apple. I used to work at a hospital, and a lady came in. It was the pretty apple. It was so pretty. She pulled it out her bag for lunch and was like, "What kind of apple is that?" She was like, "Oh, it's a pink lady." I'm like, "Oh, really? Well, let me go on to the store and find that pink lady." And I've been hooked on the pink lady. Let me go ahead and get this I know it's a core and gadget out there. It looks like a little tube. You just press it down the center. But I find that I don't want those I don't want those pieces of the apple that feel like that held the seeds in it. That always doesn't feel good when I'm eating and I bite down on it. It's almost like an unexpected kernel in your popcorn. I don't like that in my dehydrated apples. And this one doesn't have any seeds, huh? I thank y'all for joining me on my live. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss a minute of what I'm getting up to. And also turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a minute. And so you could be the first to like my video. Look, that's what a good is, to be be the first person to like my video. As another rack. Look, be the first person to like my video. It makes me think about tell my nephew when we were kids, we worked puzzles. As kids, we worked puzzles, and it was always a thrill to put the first puzzle piece in and put the last puzzle piece in. Well, everybody knew we was gonna get that first puzzle piece in, or the first puzzle piece was guaranteed. What was not guaranteed was to get the last puzzle piece in, because everybody wanted to put that last piece in, and puzzle pieces came up missing. I don't know. By the time the puzzle was complete, it was probably in the washing machine. Hell, at some point we stopped working small puzzles. We moved up to big puzzles. We were big time puzzlers, y'all. Imagine when we started working puzzles, we could not imagine a 4,000 or 5,000 piece puzzle or anything larger. But once we start looking and connecting those pieces and seeing the size of the puzzles, we was off to the races. I don't even know if people work puzzles anymore. I know a lot of things that were old made a comeback during the pandemic. My mom used to have a sewing room, and she would sew our clothes. She'd go to the fabric store, and mom's like a mechanic, you know. Mechanic knows what he needs. You know, car won't start. Well, I need a battery. I need this cable. I need that. What, blah, 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 whatever. Whatever to make that car start, that's what a mechanic go in the store and ask for. Mom and Great would go in the fabric shop. She'd say, I need 3 yards of this. I need the zipper. I need this button. Blah, blah, blah. And that's what would be on the pattern. Of course, it was on the pattern, but it's kind of like everything. It's a skill. It's even a skill to read the instructions on the pattern packet. You know? I never learned that. I like to sew. I have a sewing machine. My brother got me a sewing machine years ago for my birthday. I took sewing classes at Joann's, and I made my own skirt, my own design. And tan is creative, y'all. So I had vintage fabric on a modern style skirt. And every time I wore that skirt, everybody wanted to know where I bought it from. And I let them know it was a tan original. See if any of these seeds are sprouted. These have not sprouted yet. Huh. So yeah. So what I need to do is crack out my other dehydrator because I'm on my last rack. Last year I dehydrated some Roselle. I'm so happy I did that. I lost a bunch of them because I waited too long to get to processing. Oh, that hurt me so bad, y'all. It hurt me so bad, but Tan learned a lesson. Don't be playing around this year. I'm gonna go ahead and get this in the dehydrator. Go and boost that up temp. All right, now. Like I said, I gotta get my other dehydrator out because I have more apples. Got my other dehydrator out, and we about to just plugging through. Plugging through, y'all. And if I don't run out of steam, I will be cooking. I'll be cooking my cinnamon coated figs. Cinnamon sugar coated figs. That's what I was telling y'all before I had to go get the rest of my dehydrator plates. And then I'm so happy. I have the biggest jars. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a canner. I've gotten the biggest jars to store my my dehydrated stuff in. And I'm so happy about that because I know stuff will last a little while in a Ziploc bag, but to lock it in a jar or a can keeps it fresher longer, I think. So I'm really happy about that. So I got 2 really big jars. And I feel like I'm saving them for my Roselle. Get that on there. Because that's the most important thing to me, really. I need to figure out this is that pink lady. This is the pink lady apple. So go ahead and get this one. Like I said, I start at the bottom. And I'm getting preppy, y'all. I'm getting my apples sliced and cored to go on a dehydrator. I've mentioned before that during the pandemic, I learned a lot of things. Why I was doing stuff, you know. Uh, I'm easily entertained apparently because when all those other YouTubers was making wine, they was making bread, they were canning, I was in the party. Yeah. Tana made some wine. Oh, speaking of wine, I bought a wine kit. So I've elevated my status. I can say, I will say I'm a winemaker now, since I have a wine kit. I have to break that out. Ooh, the pink lady got seeds. The pink lady got seeds, y'all. None of them have started sprouting like that other one. Ooh, I'm gonna get them out. I'm gonna get them out and not break them all up. So I have a hot mess avocado bucket. I put all my avocado seeds in there and I hope they will grow. I don't think any of them have started sprouting in the hot mess avocado bucket, but I'm gonna have a hot mess apple bucket. Put these seeds in some soil and see if I get any of these to sprout other than the one that I found inside the apple that already sprouted. Let's see. I'm gonna save these pink lady apples. Apple seeds. I don't have an apple tree. I have a pear tree that I'm trying to get off the ground. I have a plum tree and I have a peach tree. My only concern now is putting those things in the ground. And look, this is the second dehydrator. That's the first rack. I'm gonna get it going over here. And like I said, normally I put my apples in lemon water. Normally I put my apples in lemon water to keep them from turning brown before I dehydrate them. But I'm not playing with these. They going straight. They going straight into the dehydrator. So and I got these baby Granny Smith. All right. I'm gonna sit these right here. All right. Yeah, these are zinnia. These zinnia are fresh from my garden. This one is purple, and this one is orange, y'all. Look how beautiful that is. I pulled them today. I pulled them today and I found that they last a long time. I had one for about 2 weeks. from a previous live. And what I do is I change out the water every so often. Now I know when I buy Mom the Great flowers, because Mom loves flowers, y'all. When I buy Mom the Great flowers, I cut the stems like whenever I change the water, because I'm trying to get them things to last. Look, this is my seed side. Seeds over there. I'm gonna get these over to the side. So, like I said, yeah, I'm gonna have a hot mess bucket of apple seeds, and I'm gonna see if I get apples to grow. Like I said, the only problem with that is you have to wait for your little tree to mature, and then you gotta hope you get some good off of it, you know. So I've heard a delicious Granny Smith seed may not grow the same delicious Granny Smith. So it just kind of make me think about that summer. It was like my first attempts at gardening without my parents holding my hand. I grew yellow tomatoes. I was so excited because I'd never seen yellow tomatoes before, except, maybe during the ripening stage, when they're blushing, maybe they do some yellow, I don't know. But they were yellow tomatoes, and I was so excited to try them and grow them. That summer was so hot. I feel like I spent more money on water than anything that even got to produce. So, but the yellow tomato survived. This is a Fuji. Yay. Fortunately, unfortunately, the yellow tomato survived, y'all. And I was so disgusted that I'd waste all my time and money on water for a tomato that I didn't even like. Yeah. I said never again. I'll never grow yellow tomatoes again. And see, as I go down, put that off to the seed side, y'all. And I'm going to keep on slicing. Now what I've noticed too, I said I like my dehydrated apple rings thin. I try not to slice them too thin though, because then they cook on my rack, my dehydrated rack. That makes it hard for Tan to get it clean. And that don't make Tan happy. All right. I hope my racks hold all the apples. That way I only had to dehydrate one time, y'all, can I tell y'all, if you like apple air fresheners, if you are a fruit perfume or a fruit air freshener person, and I'm saying this right now because my house smells good like apples. Mmm. You know, sticking to that, some variations. You probably could sprinkle some sugar on your apples. You could sprinkle sugar, cinnamon on your apple rings. I don't do that. I just like dehydrated apples. There's my next tray. Y'all get it all on there. All them little pieces. Let's start the next one. I thank y'all for joining me on my live. This is Tan prepping, getting preppy. Yeah, it smells so good in here. This apple is a Cosmic Crisp. And it's got seeds too, to the seed side. So this is what I'm saying. So I make sure I try to get this thing out. I don't like biting on that. Like, sometimes when you get the apple pie or apple pie filling, that thing is still in there. That's not pleasant. It's not pleasant to eat on that. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these seeds out there and put them on the seed side. I need more space for my seeds. Go ahead and get this cut on down. Yep. And I could use a mandolin too, but I bought a mandolin. I bought another mandolin because I had a mandolin before and I decided Tan wasn't gonna use it, so Tan got rid of the mandolin. But then I started thinking I want to slice up stuff and prep fast, and I needed another one, so I bought one. It wasn't as adequate or sufficient as the one that I had. This is my third rack of apples for dehydration. On my second dehydrator, I'm gonna go ahead and get this on the dehydrator, then I'm gonna start another rack. Ted is prepping, getting preppy, because I've mentioned before that this is my method of preserving My food, I like dehydrated apple rings. I like mine thin. So I cut the slices thin. I don't want to cut them too thin because they get stuck to my rack and that makes it hard to clean. I don't like that at all. I'm trying to do nothing extra. So I get this rack going. I have Fuji apples. I have Cosmic Crisp apples. I have Pink Lady apples. And I've gotten them washed. Now I'm just coring them and slicing them to get them in the dehydrator. And y'all, my house smells so good. If fruity smells are what you like, you don't even have to dehydrate. Get yourself an apple and sit it in the oven and let it bake. And watch how nice it make your house smell. I was mentioning earlier that I'm sure I could add some cinnamon, dredge these in some cinnamon and sugar, but I don't know. I haven't reconciled that in my head yet, so I'm not gonna do it. But I believe that will be an option too. Like, you don't have to just do straight apples for your dehydration. You could do all kinds of numbers of things to jazz them up and make them what you want. Normally when I'm getting my apples dehydrated, I put them in lemon water to keep them from turning brown. But since I'm getting them right into the dehydrator, I'm not gonna do that. That's a step I'm gonna cut out. I just go ahead and get them on the dehydrator. I mean, sometimes when I eat them and I taste the lemon on it, it feels like a little bit of extra flavor, and I kind of appreciate that, but no need. There is no need. My mind says there's no need right now. Now, I feel like at some point I'm gonna invest again in learning to can. I find that when I find meats, I like to buy more meats to store because I don't eat meat like that. It doesn't make sense for me to have it in a freezer. I don't know what happens to meat after it stays in a freezer. Freezer burn. That's it. I don't want meat with freezer burn, and that kind of turns into a waste of money. So I limit the amount of meat that I buy. But if I knew how to can, I'd get that thing in a jar, and it'd be ready to go whenever I got in a hungry tan mood, ready to eat some meat. Yeah. So I'm getting these apples cored up and sliced for the dehydrator. I got my 2 dehydrators running right now. The one is full, and I'm working on the racks for my second one. And I still got these apples to go. So I feel like I'm going to pull out my other racks here shortly. And then I want y'all to see, y'all, this is from my garden. Tan is a gardener. I do a lot of stuff, y'all. My channel is about a lot of things. But I'm a gardener, and whatever I grow, I try to prepare. I try to cook it. Like, I'm only growing stuff in my garden that I like to eat. So every year I grow tomatoes, cucumbers, greens, peppers, watermelon, squash, and the honorable mention in my garden is okra. I don't like okra, but my mom loves okra, and when she stopped gardening, all she would say is, "Oh, I wish I could grow okra." So I started growing okra, and I wasn't good at it first. So I go 1 or 2 okra, and I take them to her, and she gets so excited for the okra. I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. Now that I'm growing more, she can't even appreciate the fact that I'm growing. But I still grow okra, and I'm learning how to eat okra myself. It's not what I like, and I wouldn't grow it for me to eat. But since I am growing, I'm learning different ways to cook it that I can like it. What I'm showing you are the seeds from this apple. Tan save seeds, y'all. I have a hot mess avocado bucket out in my yard, and all my avocado seeds go into that bucket. I have one avocado tree growing right now in the most unlikely spot. It's growing in the pot with my peach tree. My hot mess bucket has yet to sprout an avocado, but I'm happy to have it nonetheless. Now, what I am going to do is make sure I bring that thing in for the winter. Tan babies her plants. The sister gardener said you care too much. Well, I just can't. I want to keep stuff going. I want to keep stuff going. Once I put the effort in it and I get it to growing, it needs to come on with it, produce something. So this is my racking up my apples. Let's see. I'm gonna put those two together, close together. I'm gonna get those Granny Smith because they're small enough to fill the space that's left on that rack. Yes, these apples smell good. Smells so good. And coming to the seed. So, and got this little apple done. I'm gonna get it on the rack. Now them little pieces, I'm just gonna get them on there. I'm not gonna waste space on another rack with the little pieces. Oh, I want to get all these on there, y'all. Tear my heart open. I'll save that one for the next rack. So this rack is headed to the dehydrator. And I'm going to pull out my other racks. So far I have 5. I have 5 round racks going, and I have the 4 square racks that are going. And I still have, there we go. I'm pulling out my other racks as we speak. Got 3 more. 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I don't know if all of them gonna fit. So, whatever apples I can't get on my last 3 racks, I might just find a delicious apple recipe, maybe an apple tart, because I do have a pie crust that I want to use. Some tarts or something, I don't know. But let's see. Let me wipe my hands off. My hands get sticky, y'all. So, and these apples will last me, I don't know. It just depends on how hungry Tan gets, y'all. If I'm sitting around munching, just snacking, well, they could be gone by the end of the week. Or they could last long. It just depends on what else I'm getting into, you know? Because, you know, I kind of eat like I'm really craving something and I'm eating it all the time. Then once that craving passes, I'm looking for the next thing that I'm gonna be eating or that I want to eat. So, you know, if it's what I'm wanting all the time, it'll be gone in no time. But if I find something else in the meantime that I'm liking as much, it could last a little bit longer. And these are really thick. But I'm getting down to the end, y'all. Tan is getting to the end of her apples. Let's see what this is. This is a Fuji too. This is a Fuji apple. Yeah, I made myself a coffee. Kind of call it a chai tea coffee, right? Everything is a fusion now. You can go buy it in a restaurant. I just take me a Keurig. I blend myself a cup of coffee. And lately I've been adding some tea bags. Tea. Some Walmart tea apparently wasn't too popular because I got it on clearance. A lot of people didn't like it, but I got it on the cheap. That's another thing. I didn't buy too many of them because I wasn't sure if I'd like it. And when I when I went back to get some more, they were all gone. Wonk, wonk, wonk. But I've been using those chocolate tea bags. I have to let you see one of them. Let me reach in my coffee station and let you see what it is. But it tastes so good. It's almost like during the holidays I get the Christmas tea. Look, this one right here, chocolate chai tea. I put that in my coffee. Oh, it tastes so good. So, young lady married my nephew. She said he's weird because he puts coffee in his Coke. Well, a few years ago, Coca-Cola had Coke Black. Coke Black. Do any of y'all know about that? But they took it off the market. You can find it in Mexico. When I visited Mexico, I had some and I was so excited because I hadn't seen it in a while. But my nephew enjoyed that black coffee too. So it's not on the market anymore. So what we do, what we do is just add coffee, a coffee packet. You know those coffee sachets that they sell? You can buy Folgers packets or Sanka or I don't know. You know them coffee brands, they sell the coffee tubes. Just put a coffee tube in your bottle of Coke and it's not as good. It is not as good, I promise you, it is not as good. But it has the flavor of coffee and Coke, and I love it. I love it. So I don't use the Coke anymore, but I do find the RC Cola. Yeah, I find the RC Cola, and I put the coffee packet in my RC Cola, and I enjoy that. You know, I was on a YouTube thread and people were talking about the good old days. I remember back in the day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. Some days I wish I was a kid again. I used to watch the little teacher's aide. She'd go in the teacher's lounge. She'd get herself an RC and a packet of them Lance peanuts. And she dropped that whole packet of Lance peanuts into that bottle of RC. And I needed to know what that was about. So I was always not happy, but I was okay when my mom picked us up really late. She was always on time, so I never got to hang out. But when she was really late, like something was going on, all the teachers would be gone. The teachers' lounge would be empty. Tim would get in the teachers' lounge, and I guess my guilty pleasure or my joie de vivre was to get that RC and peanuts like that teacher's aide. I still remember that, y'all. And it still tastes good. You know, some stuff I find that I really, really enjoyed back in the day. I don't get as much pleasure out of it anymore. And then I know that's because taste buds change. And I got this rack. I'm going to go ahead and get that on. That's what I was looking for. I knew I had another piece. Go ahead and get that in the dehydrator. And I'm gonna start my last rack, y'all. Yeah, 8. Oh no. This is my last rack. So I've got this rack will make 8. I have 8 round racks, and then I have 5 square racks in my dehydrator. So this one, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and get these 3 done. Get these 3 apples. I feel like these gonna be the last 3 apples for my dehydrators. My house smells lovely. It smells like fresh apples. I said earlier that, you know, if you like the smell of fresh fruit, if that's your perfume or your flavor sensation, take an apple and put it in the oven. Bake that thing. It's so much better than the aerosol air fresheners. Sprinkle some cinnamon on it. That would make it even better. I'm sure they got a smell for that, a name smell for that. And you're probably already buying it in the Glade. So when I core my apples, I try to save the seeds. And today I'm working on a hot mess apple bucket. You see the seeds right here? I want to try to grow apples. I don't have an apple tree. And I went to see a seminar with the Texas Master Gardeners. And man, it seems like it's going to be a challenge to grow apples. It sounds like it's going to be a challenge to grow apples because something gets in the apple while it's growing, or is that the peach? Something gets to the apple while it's growing. If it doesn't get to the apple, it gets to the bark of the tree. So you got to lime coat it. Apples need a lot of attention. I don't know if Tan gonna do it, y'all. I'd love to. I love to have apples. I love to be growing apples. I'm trying to debate where I'm gonna put my pear tree. I feel like it's time to get it out of the bucket that it came in, but I don't know where to put it because my grow row is only so large, and then the space between my fence and my patio is only so large. And the last thing I want is foundation problems because Tan had to have an apple tree or a pear tree. This is a Fuji apple. And once I get these all cut up, oh no, I feel like I'm gonna go ahead and make my cinnamon sugar coated figs and get that in the toaster. Cause I have a fig tree, like I said. She not looking so good. Figalicious is looking like she need a trip to the ER. I hate to lose it because, you know, this is only like the third year I've gotten fruit out of it. There we go. Got that cord. Let me get my rack. What I got? Oh, y'all got to get on there. Where can I put it? Right here. All right. This is my last rack, y'all. Get this over here. I thank y'all for joining me on my live. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss a minute of what I'm getting up to. Now, so I've gotten to the bottom of the apples. I've gotten to the bottom of the apples. This is what I have left. Now, I feel like I will eat this one. This is a Cosmic Crisp. I feel like I could just eat this. Ooh, Gala. Got a Gala apple. So this is what I have left. I'm gonna sit those to the side, and I'll probably get back to them later. I'll get back to them later. But right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 square racks dehydrated, and I have 8 round racks dehydrated. Now let me look and see. How long to dehydrate apple rings? Okay, so dehydrated apple rings. Some say 2 to 3 hours, some say 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours at 135. Some say 12 hours at 135, 6 to 12 hours at 135. So let me go and bring this down. I'll do 10, temp, 135. So I got my timer on my dehydrator going, and let me lower the temp on my other one. 135, all right. So yeah, tonight we have prepped peppers. Tan has been prepping. We got those peppers prepped. We got my apples into the dehydrator. Let's look at the onions. I got onions on my mind because I want to show you something. So I mentioned I put those garlics in the ground that grew from the store-bought. These are store-bought onions. This one here, this one was looped onto there. This one onion split and made this. So you can put your store-bought onions, if they sprout, put them in the ground. Put them in some dirt and see if they will grow for you. And that's just what I did with that. And that's why I saved my seeds. I saved all my seeds from them peppers. I'm going to put them in the ground from the red pepper, the yellow pepper, and that green pepper. I'm putting all those seeds in some dirt. And I have been drying them out and planting them, and they have been growing without a problem, but it's hot outside right now. I'm not gonna do that step. Not gonna do that step. Now, I've also saved my apple seeds because I'm about to start a hot mess apple bucket. I have that hot mess avocado bucket, and I do have one avocado growing from the seed that I planted in my yard. It's another plant that I'm gonna have to baby during the wintertime, but I'm gonna do it. If I don't have to go to the store and look at prices for avocados, I just go out to my little grow row, tan pseudo garden. I just gotta go to the dirty garden and pick up something, pick up my meal for the day. That's what I want to do. That's exactly what I want to do. So I do thank y'all for joining me on this live. Like I said, I've got my peppers. I got my peppers sliced, prepped, and frozen, and ready to go for whenever I'm looking for some good with peppers in it. And I've got my apples in a dehydrator. All those apples that I could fit in my dehydrators, they are in there. And I've got the timer set, so this is my apple compost. Hold up. Hold that thought. I used to just throw these sale papers away. Now I put it, well, when I had a dog, I'd use them to line the kennel, his kennel. But I don't have a dog anymore. Tan can't have a dog. You know, I'm juggling too many priorities. A dog would be something extra on my plate. But now I use the newspapers for, I call them compost packets. Compost packets. Put all that stuff in there. Just like that. And before I put it in the ground, I soak it in some water. Before I put it in the dirt, I soak it in some water and get it all moist. And it be ready to start breaking down. So, look, I got my compost stuff ready. I got some leftover apples that I'll be working on later. I got my zinnia fresh from my garden. The purple one is beautiful, but the orange is my favorite color. I'm gonna go ahead and get this cleaned up. Got my seeds for my peppers that I'm gonna get in the ground. And got my apples in my dehydrator, y'all. Got my apples in my dehydrator. Got my little timer set. And we off to the races. Y'all, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a minute what I'm getting up to. And as always, I thank y'all for watching. Bye.